Cowboys versus Eagles 2 coming up. A lot at stake for both teams. You got David Carr out there thinking that Marcus Mariota is better than Jalen Hurts or whatever nonsense he was saying.
What an idiot.
Yeah. So Dwayne Marcus, this was your topic. What'd you have in mind for the Cowboys versus Eagles?
So this game is important for a number of different reasons. Not just important, obviously, for Dallas and Philly, but also if Dallas wins this game and the Lions win out, the Lions have a chance to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, what I think is super interesting. There's no other game that Philly can lose where the Lions can win out and win and have the 1 seed in the NFC. It's only this one, and it's because of the conference tiebreaker. The Lions will have more wins within the conference than the Eagles if they lose this game. So that's super important.
Wait.
But also, there's like...
Hold on. All right, go ahead.
But also, I think what's been super annoying and why I hate Eagles fans this year is because a lot of Eagles fans act like the Eagles are so much better than the Cowboys. And the beautiful thing about having 2 really good teams that are in the same division is they play the same teams. So we get to compare how they performed against the same teams. The Eagles, as we mentioned, lost to the Jets. The Cowboys destroyed the Jets this season. Both teams lost to the 49ers. They both got 42 hung up on them. So, that's a scratch there. The Eagles had 2 close games against the Commanders. The Cowboys, aside from their loss against the Eagles, obviously have dominated the division so far this year. I think, and I've said it all year, we continue to do with the Dallas Cowboys and with Dak Prescott especially, is we continue to make them want to atone for their sins of the last 27, 28 years of not having been to a conference championship, not having been to a Super Bowl, instead of just treating them like the team they are right now in the present in the 2023-2024 season. And what they are is a bona fide Super Bowl contender. What they are is one of the best teams in football, one of the best teams in their conference, and they are a team that if they win this game, which I think they will because it's a home game and they have won every home game against the Eagles dating back to like 2013 or something like that, I think is what I saw earlier. Like when they play the Eagles at home, they win. And sometimes they blow them out of the water. So what I know is if the Dallas Cowboys, who have been the best team at home this year, come up on Sunday night and win this game, it's not just a shot at the 1 seed. It's not just a shot at the division. The Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl if they win this game on Sunday. Like that's actually what it is. And I just firmly
so is this a
that.
must win for Philly, right, or a must win for Dallas? Like based on what you're saying, it sounds like you're saying it's a must win for Dallas.
I don't think it's a must-win for Dallas. I think Dallas will be fine. This is a must-win for Philly. Philly cannot – the Eagles, and especially Eagles fans, will not be able to show their faces if after being blown out by the Niners at home – I've been talking all that trash all year about how Brock Purdy not being in that game didn't matter. And then also if they lose on Sunday against the Cowboys on the road. Now, if it's a close game, like Bert said earlier, if it's a close game, maybe we maybe we turn a blind eye. But they get dusted. They get boat raced in Dallas on Sunday. We're going to have a serious conversation about the Eagles that no one's wanted to have all season. Because the Eagles have not been the Eagles of last year. Like, I get it. They're 10-1. They were 10-1 last year through 12 weeks. But this is not the same team. Like, there was no team last year that could actually reasonably step foot on a football field with the Eagles and you think, oh, they're better. That's not the case this year. They got destroyed by the Niners last week. They could potentially get destroyed by the Cowboys again this week. And the Cowboys, could they go to San Francisco and win a football game? Sure. But do I think that San Francisco could come to Dallas this year and win a football game the way they did 2 years ago? No. So what Dallas is playing for is home field advantage. They've been the best home team all season. Home field advantage for Dallas, I think, all but guarantees a Super Bowl appearance. But the Eagles have to win this game because all the Eagles have left, all Eagles fans have left to cling on to as it pertains to being the best team in football is having the best record in football. But if we show up at the end of week 14 and they're not the only 10-win team in the league, it's because they lost back-to-back games to the 2 teams that are their biggest threats. The Eagles are going to be stuck bad, like real bad, because they had to go and they have to play Seattle in Seattle the week after, and Seattle's not a bad team. They're hungry, and they also want to get into the playoffs. The Eagles have to win this game to win the 1 seed, and they have to win this game to have any shot at the Super Bowl. They lose this game, they're done. There will be no need to grease any poles in Philadelphia this year because the Phillies lost in the World Series again, and the Unions suck, And I don't know what the Flyers are doing. I'm sure Bert knows, but I bet they're not good. So there's no good there. And Jerm started breaking to you, but the Sixers aren't giving Philly any reason to grease any polls anytime soon. The Eagles are the only chance of greasing polls in Philadelphia this year. And if they lose this game on Sunday, there will be no polls being greased in Philadelphia. They'll be dry. They'll be dry polls. They'll be dry polls.
Just like the Edwards house. All right. So Bert, I mean,
I was waiting for it. I was like, listen, Packers on a three-week win streak. I mean, Dwayne Marcus poll's been greased for a while now.
Yeah, I'm about to say, down there in D.C. and the seedy hotels. I don't know if he still works there. The OnlyFans hotels he used to work at. The Eagles all season, I think Dwayne Marcus is right. They haven't looked like themselves. Their branding this year has been find a way to win somehow, whether it's capitalizing on some bad refereeing or a turnover at the wrong time by the team they're playing. They just seem to find ways to win without actually winning the game. And if they lose to the Cowboys, they're going to have the same record as the Detroit Lions. And all of a sudden, that world beater Eagles mantra that all the sports media has been pumping into our ears all season is going to be gone because you have the same record as the Lions. And so that's not, I mean, I guess it's a knock to the Lions, but nobody really sees the Lions that way, even though they've been really good this year. So, the Eagles, I don't know, Bert, I think it's a must win for the Eagles, but, more importantly, they need to win so they can clinch the number 1 seed and then give Jalen Hurts a bye week, basically, to heal up.
Oh, 100%. But, look, Dwayne Marcus, for the most part, speaking facts. The fact that even if Dallas wins in a close game, you think that's going to give them the momentum to be Super Bowl bound, to me is a bold accusation knowing who the Dallas organization is. But hey, listen, buddy, I'm rooting for you in your picks, so why not? But no, the Eagles need a bounce back week, number 1. First and foremost, but they need to prove that, hey, just because we've lost twice this year doesn't mean that we're downward spiraling. Jerm, to your point, they need to clinch and they need that bye week so everybody stays healthy. But, I'll take the opposite approach. Like, yes, they haven't looked like themselves, but I do mind because I'm a Giant fan, but from a football perspective, like, listen, a gritty approach is fine. Like anything to win games, particularly for a Super Bowl run-up team or runner-up team where they're truly looking to claw back to get to the main show and hopefully take it all this year is their mindset. So listen, if they're going to make sure that they capitalize on calls that went their way, that's perfectly fine. If for the most part they face somewhat of an easy schedule, just win any given Sunday, just win and get there. This will be the true testament though, as they head towards the end of their season. And I think it starts right now. Honestly, they need to come away with another win. It's going to be a hard fought battle through and through. But overall, if they end up losing, it's going to be, how did they look all game and to what degree did they lose to see if they truly are spiraling. But we'll see. Look, we want to talk about how shitty Thursday night games are. This Sunday night game is going to be great. It really is.
Yeah. But I think when you talk about the narrative for the Eagles, the whole year coming into the season was, they lost the Super Bowl, but Jalen Hurts outplayed Pat Mahomes. And that's like what everyone is holding on to, right? Because how many times has Pat Mahomes been outplayed, right? But then the guy that we saw in February in the biggest game of his career, in a losing effort, outplaying the best quarterback on the face of the planet, we have not seen that guy at all this season, at all. We have seen more evidence of the guy from 2020 who looked awful against Tampa Bay in the wild card round than we have seen the guy who played and outplayed Pat Mahomes in February. And if I'm supposed to believe that the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl, the best team in football, and granted, whoever comes out of the NFC, especially if it's the Cowboys, the Niners, or the Eagles, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl because the AFC is a mess right now with half of the best quarterbacks in the division or in the conference either hurt or just inconsistent. Sorry, Jerm. That's just how it works. Unfortunately, though, the Eagles haven't been that. I haven't gotten one vintage Jalen Hurts performance. I haven't gotten one game this season where I looked at the Eagles or I looked at Jalen Hurts and wow, there he is. I got an 80-yard touchdown drive against the Bills last week. That's it. That's the best Jalen Hurts has looked all game, is that game-winning drive against the Bills in overtime. Unfortunately, the Bills don't win overtime games. So, like, the coins just aren't on their side. Like how many times have the Bills gotten the ball first in overtime? I think once. And the one time that they get the ball in overtime first, they didn't do anything with it, and they lost that game too. Like, it's not that hard to beat the Bills in overtime. Again, sorry, Jerm. Like, the Eagles have given me nothing. They've given me nothing all year. They have one chance, and it's this game. Especially after being blown out against the 49ers, they have one more chance this year to prove that they really are everything that all Eagles fans and Dan Orlovsky and Mike Greenberg, God bless his Jets loving soul, and everybody else wants to sit around and talk about how the Eagles are this and the Eagles are that. They have one chance this year. It's this Sunday on the road in Jerry to prove that they are everything that everyone's been saying that they are. If they lose this game, I don't even care if it's not a blowout. If they don't win this game on Sunday against the Cowboys, who they keep trying to make little brother, it's not going to go good. It's not going to go good. It's not. They're going to lose to the Seahawks the week after probably because they don't handle adversity well. That's just not who the Eagles are. They're the ultimate front runners. Like, they're only good when they have a lead. They're only good when everything is going their way. When things start going to flames and Jalen Hurts really has to be that guy, he's not that guy all the time. So yeah, give me the Cowboys by 17, and they'll make it to the Super Bowl, and the Eagles will be at home reinventing themselves again for the sixth time in as many years. What?
The mic isn't.
We can't hear you.
We can hear you.
It's because I'm muted. My bad.
There we go. All right.
There we go. I muted myself. I went to go drink my drink, and I didn't want to do my Dwayne Marcus gulps in the microphone. So
yeah, it was rough. No, it was rough. It was rough before the show started.
Now, I will say the Buffalo Bills the last couple of years have had high expectations, and they've fallen apart in the playoffs. They've had really good regular seasons, and then they've fallen apart in the playoffs. So it would be poetic. Wait, hold on. Everybody's counting us out. How magical would it be that we went out and then go on to win the Super Bowl? It's like a complete opposite of what's been happening. The Cowboys.
Not with Sean McDermott as the head coach.
Damn right. So when it comes to the Cowboys and Eagles, Eagles need this game real bad. And even if the Cowboys do win it, the Eagles are still going to make the playoffs, and the Cowboys will make the playoffs. And we all know what's going to happen. It's not going to matter what happens here in this game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So when the playoffs start, the Cowboys are going to cowboy. Everybody's just hyping themselves up, and the more they hype themselves up, the more I get to do this. Cowboys dropped that game to the Niners in embarrassing fashion like they did the other year. Good for the Cowboys. You won 10 games. Good job. You beat the Eagles Sunday Night Football. You beat your rivals. Dak Prescott looks all happy. He's eating Campbell's soup or whatever, Progressive or whatever soup he's sponsoring. And then you're going to lose in the playoffs, and it's going to be Mike McCarthy's fault, or it's going to be Dak's fault. Something's going to happen because that's just the Dallas Cowboys. But before
let me ask you a question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me just ask you this one question, right? None of these three teams can be the 4 seed because of how bad the Falcons are. It's either 1, 2, or 3. Or in the case of the Eagles and the Cowboys, it's 1, 2, or 5 because they're in the same division. Right. Let's say the Cowboys win this game, they win the division, they're the 2 seed, right? Or the 3 seed, whichever, right? That means that they don't have to play the 49ers and the Eagles. They have to play the 49ers.
You'll play Philly, 49ers, and then or Detroit, right? Like those would be a combination of those two would be
right.
Yeah.
But if they're in the top 4, they have to play the 49ers or the Eagles in a playoff game as opposed to all 4. So
all 4.
My question then the reason why I'm so optimistic and the reason why I think this game is so important, especially for the Cowboys, of course, is because winning this game basically means the Eagles lose one more game this season, which is possible, especially if they rest their starters in week 18 against the Giants. They have the 2 seed or the 3 seed, right?
Yeah.
It is not. It's not far-fetched to see the Cowboys in the conference championship game this year because they're better than every other team. They're better than every other team except for the Niners, and they're on the same level as the Eagles. So really, all the Cowboys have to do is win that one game that's the most important because the other games are going to be at home, and they haven't not shown up at home. I think that's, at least for me as a non-Cowboy fan, without all the, the Jerry Jones, energy flowing through my blood as a Cowboys fan. Like, that's why it's so easy to be optimistic about a potential Super Bowl appearance, is because this game virtually guarantees that the Eagles and the 49ers have to play each other and the Cowboys get to pick the bones of what's left. That is, to me, a great reason to be optimistic when you consider the fact that that game it's a strong chance that game against the Eagles and 49ers could be at home based on all the stuff I ran earlier today. But also, and most importantly, like, the Eagles and the 49ers aren't that much better than the Cowboys. They're on the same level. It's just going to come down to quarterback play. And of the three, Dak Prescott's been the best this season. He's been the best this season. They all have great defenses. Coaching not that good, but Dak Prescott's been the best of the three this year. That's why it's easy for me to just be so confident and say, oh, yeah, they win this game and it's a Super Bowl appearance.
Two things, Dwayne Marcus. He's the better, and Dallas is better in the regular season. We're talking about the playoffs. So what year were you born, Dwayne Marcus? This is not a youth joke. I can't remember what year you were born.
The Dallas Cowboys have not been to.
No, don't ruin the joke.
What year? He to it. He knew. He sniffed out what you were getting at.
No, I knew where it was coming. I knew where it was going. I was born in
the Dallas Cowboys haven't been to an NFC Championship game since the Super Nintendo came out.